Hello everybody, my name is Emerald Kwinn. My native name is Mukwa, which means beaver woman, and I am a descent of the Anishinaabe and Potawatomi Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation, and I am here to tell my story. I didn't grow up on my reservation in Kansas, but my mom proudly reminds me every day of our culture and traditions by filling our home with our paintings and sculptures. My mom encourages me to keep my native side alive and appreciate the reservation and the community it creates. I remember sharing my worries about my percentage with my aunts and uncles, and they reassured me that I am Native. My insecurities also disappeared when Native SOAR's Native Student Outreach, Access, and Resiliency welcomed me into class with open arms. The most impactful and culture-shocking event I've ever experienced on the res was my birth father's funeral. This was the first time we were ever called to Kansas on such short notice. The traditions I experienced and how my community supported, accepted, and built a greater family around me through the celebration and appreciation of his life left a life-changing imprint on my self-identity. I was surrounded by my relatives, and my native name was primarily used in a frequent manner. This was unusual to me as I've always gone by my government name. In my culture, we would only go by our native name on the res, and our government name would be our secondary name. This made me proud to be who I am. To continue with the funeral ceremony, our whole family would eat together in a huge feast, and the men would dance to the drum music. We would spread tobacco blessings and prayers to different Mother Earth directions and elements before visiting his burial site to bless the dirt for his journey into the afterlife. My Misha died soon after, so we had to go through the mourning and funeral traditions a second time. The second time my family had to gather for a traditional occasion was the baby naming ceremony of my niece and nephew, and it was absolutely beautiful. The oldest men in the family would name the children like how my Misho, the drum chief at the time, named me. He would look at the records of the ancestors' names and choose a name that represents the child heart and characteristics. He would say a blessing and share a tobacco pipe to cover all the people in attendance with the blessed smoke that they exhaled. I then watched as my papi held up my niece and nephew and called out their native names proudly in all directions. This made me appreciate how their given names will always be with them, like how mine is a reminder of who I am, who I aspire to become, and who I always was. My mom continues to support my native identity, and both my parents support my success within and outside my academic journey. My parents have always pushed my sisters and I to go to college from a young age because of their aligned values. I grew up always having that goal in mind. I was able to excel and graduate from high school despite having a cognitive disability. I enrolled into the University of Arizona after finding out that they offered equine science, and I am now in my second year. It wasn't until this year when I found Native culture on campus. Wanting to be a part of a learning living community and stay in the dorms, I joined Otham Key Wing. I was randomly assigned to room with Orion, a member of the Navajo Nation, who is now one of my closest friends. Together, we attended dorm and campus blessings, feast events, spiritual cleansings, and found out about Native SOAR. Coming to this class has been such a wonderful experience. Learning from Native scholars, coming to class filled with peers who come from various backgrounds, and being able to mentor young students has helped me grow, accept who I am, appreciate the community we build daily, and drive me further to get my degree and give back to those who helped me with the process. Native SOAR will always be a part of me, my history, and my path. I'm grateful to read work by Native scholars and Native SOAR and how they relate to college students and our growth. I relate most to one of the books called Native Presence and Sovereignty in College by Dr. Amanda Taccini because it reflected the students' perspectives on acceptance and culture shock, along with the aspects of belonging. Taccini first introduces the book with a quote by Lila June, which describes the hard truths about racism and culture differences. Another connection was in the Freakonomics podcast in an episode called What Exactly is College For?, which left a big impact on my mentality for college and wanting to pursue a degree. The podcasters talked about how college is just a door to open new possibilities and is one of the many options to find a career and helps push people towards their dream success. For me, I know college isn't the only option, but I couldn't imagine my life without the experiences I gained here, along with the people and friends I've met so far. The last article that resonates with me is called Indigenous Knowledge Realized, Understanding the Role of Service Learning at the Intersection of Being a Mentor and a College-Going American Indian in Education by Nelson and Youngbull. This article explores the experiences of 13 undergraduate Indigenous mentors, and through Native SOAR, I was given the opportunity to mentor students at Desert View High School over the course of 10 weeks. Like the students in the article, I advocated for, taught different postgraduate paths, and passed on college information for the students. I really enjoyed getting to know the students by supporting them. Through my time on the res in this class, I found environment, space, and the sense of belonging that comes from being surrounded and accepted by relatives, peers, friends, and community members. This class has helped show me what it's like to have people to lean on. Thank you.